Hey, today we're at Notre Dame Cathedral and we're going to talk about Victor Hugo's The Hunchback of Notre Dame, that famous French classic piece of literature that's been around for centuries and has been taken into film and other things. Today we're going to sort out the truth about The Hunchback of Notre Dame. So now that we've looked at Victor Hugo's house and we've seen Notre Dame Cathedral, which was the inspiration for the novel The Hunchback of Notre Dame, let's finish off some of the context of that novel. Written during the July 1930 revolution, the novel itself was very much affected, as I've said, by the historical and political trends of that time. The novel itself was written to try and help draw attention to the cathedral and preserve the cathedral. But after the 1979 revolution, French society was split into two parts, those who opposed the Republic and those who supported it. And Hugo identified with those themes of political equality, social equality, and the legacy, sort of, the ideas of that French Revolution. Hugo was never a strong supporter of the monarchy, and after 1830 a new revolution occurred in Paris, and Hugo didn't think that revolution went far enough. And he celebrated the resurgence of the ideas of political liberty, suffrage, democracy, and all those ideas. And he tried to incorporate the legacy of that in The Hunchback of Notre Dame, where he criticises both the aristocracy and the church. I think it's important to remember that when you're reading Notre Dame, that you get the descriptions of the cathedral itself, because Paris plays a huge role in that novel. It represents Paris as a place that can be seen from Notre Dame, and Notre Dame is a little plaque in front of Notre Dame that indicates it's the centre of Paris, it's the heart of Paris in many ways. And the cathedral comes to represent Paris's Gothic heart and all that was good of the past. Hugo compares the city to a living creature in the novel, and he argues that Paris is extremely important and he's worried that it might disappear. The Hunchback of Notre Dame preceded the rebuilding of Paris, and Hugo, his warning had been correct. Much of it was knocked down and all the old stuff. There's not much left of the Gothic past of Paris now. It's only in that Latin Quarter, and you'll see visual images of that as behind this, in front of this speech, I suppose you'd call it. Finally, The Hunchback of Notre Dame is part of that romantic literary movement, and that's probably the last piece of context that you'd really want to know. Romanticism was predominantly a reaction against classicism and the classics, and it's certainly a romantic story. It is a love story, but the novel doesn't focus on the love story. It's only the modern literature that focuses more on the love story than the political aspects of it. Hugo, in the novel, breaks away from the romantic tradition slightly by talking a little bit about the past in France and not about the future. He wanted to show that history was important in France, and it did have ideas that could be represented in the classics. And I think his choice of a sort of hero in this with Quasimodo, that Hunchback of Notre Dame, the abandoned child left at the cathedral for help. He's hideously deformed, he's deaf, but his heart is pure, and that purity is linked to the idea of the cathedral and what it represents, both in its architecture and its spirituality, not necessarily represented by Archdeacon Frollo. Quasimodo is a very strange type of hero, as I've suggested, and we'll talk more about that when we do more complex lectures on the novel. But for now, I'm Bruce Pattinson from Total Education Centre. That's the context of The Hunchback of Notre Dame. More lectures on this subject later.